Mandela Day will not be a holiday, but a day devoted to service.
Nelson Mandela means a whole lot to people.
Selflessness. It's about time we rise up.
Nelson Mandela Day, I'm working with an NGO from my community.
So on Nelson Mandela Day, I'll be at the soup kitchen where I work.
Go help in a homeless shelter. That'd be nice.
It is our hope that people will dedicate their time and effort to improve the conditions within their own community.
Madiba started the change. Now it's time to play your part. Take action. Inspire change. Make every day Mandela Day.
Well, I've always known about Madiba. I mean, my parents were activists, and by the time I was 10 years old, the treason trial was well underway. So Madiba was, as were other Rivonia trialists, were household names in our family. Then I was the leader of women's organizations in what was then the Transvaal. And when the ANC was unbanned and Madiba had been released, I was asked by the National Interim Organizing Committee to go and assist in Madiba's office. Mm-hmm. I was then working for Beyers Naudé, the Reverend Beyers Naudé, running a scholarship program for young people who had a serious intention of actually becoming at some point in their lives civil service. We were planning for the future well ahead of our time, I think. Mm-hmm. And in May of 1990, I then went to Shell House, met with Madiba for the first time, and he asked me if I wouldn't want to work with him more directly. And I was absolutely shocked because this is a legend. Also, he is a tremendously humane person. And I think from the very first day, there was a very good communication between us. And I think we got on extremely well right from day one.
So you crossed paths with him and eventually became his assistant, and you watch him literally make this country into a democracy. What for you stands out as one of your greatest Madiba memories? You know, there's so many Madiba memories, but I think for me is the day when there was violence in the East Rand. As you know, it started in the Vaal. There were the Boy Putong massacres. But it traveled down to the East Rand, and Kumalo Road had just erupted, and it was very late at night. Madiba called me at home and said, could I please meet him at Shell House? I had no idea what this was going to be about. I came back to Shell House. He was there, and he said, we're going to go to the East Rand now because people have been killed. I've been in touch with the government of South Africa. I'm not getting the satisfaction that I'm looking for, that at least the lives of people are being secured. We're going out there. And we did. And for me, that kind of energy and immediacy, that kind of commitment to people with no thought for himself, played itself out over and over again. In the time that I worked with Madiba and others worked with him. Remember, we were a team. And he was a great believer in the collective and also believed that he himself was nothing outside of that collective. And I think that's something people have missed about him in a great number of times that I've seen what's happening in our country. But Madiba's commitment to the lives of people, to the quality of their lives, was enormous. And in going there, we went into a mortuary, and as we came out, he had nothing to say all the time we walked through, but when we came out, there was a body of a young woman with her child, and very, very silent tears just rolled down his cheeks. And even thinking about it now, I remember the emotion of that particular moment. He didn't know this woman. It was just this horrific scene. There was no name on her. She was just there. And I think those are the kinds of moments I think about quite often, especially these days. Madiba's absolute commitment to humaneness, to humanity, to the quality of life. Well, he celebrates his 93rd birthday in a few days. I mean, it's a milestone. Many people wish they would reach an age as that. How has Madiba impacted on your life?
Madiba's influence on on me has been one of making sure that in my own personal life I understand that I am nothing outside of a collective. I am not above the people. I have no calling other than to serve the people in the most fundamental way that I can. I believe that he inculcated in me, he improved it, I think, which was an activism I had from a very young age. Mm-hmm. But working with him improved it 1,000 times, is that you don't leave things for tomorrow. If there's an issue to be sorted out, do it immediately. Find out the facts. Don't act on hearsay. Don't be inspired by headlines. Be inspired by what you go and find out on the ground for yourself.
Ms. Duarte, your relationship with Madiba spans just over 2 decades. Looking back, how would you describe him as a person, the personal relationship you had with him versus the politician?
Madiba has a curious mind. He needed to know the detail of every matter that he was going to get involved with. So for me, there was that. There was this enormous sense of humor, wonderful, wonderful sense of humor, sense of remembering the names of people. I found that so amazing. A man of great humility, but at the same time, somebody with, if he believed in something, he would fight for it, he would argue for it, he would push for it, despite what opposition he might get. So he had tenacity. In the years that I worked with him and post the years that I worked with him and continued just to interact with him, I constantly saw that dedicated to the agenda and a goal for the improvement of the lives of people was his whole life, I think. I remember when we met with Muammar Gaddafi the first time in Libya. And Gaddafi's home had been bombed by the Americans, and he had lost a child in that bombing. And when we went to his home, when Madiba met with him, it was like a father meeting his son, going beyond the public person into the private person. And I've seen him do that over and over again with a number of great heads of state, great personalities, being able to reach beyond the public face and person into a space that became uniquely his relationship with that person.